Okay guys, so in today's video what we're going to be looking at would be writing down the equation of a line again, but this time we don't have any graphs, right? Nor do we have any y-intercept, right? Or gradient. All they're going to give us would be 2 points. So they're just going to give us 2 points and we need to get everything and write down our equation of the line. All right, so in order to write an equation in line, we need to have two things, right? We need to have our gradient, which is m, and we need to have c, which is our y-intercept. So we have some steps to go about doing this, right? So the first thing you're going to do is take your 2 points and use the formula that we learned probably in the first class in coordinate geometry and work out our gradient, right? So we're going to use the big formula, y2 take away y1 over x2 take away x1. Then the next thing we're going to do, well, after we work out our gradient, would be to use that gradient answer we got, and we're going to use any one of our points. It don't matter which one you use, as long as the working is correct, you're going to get the correct answer. Use any one of your points and work out the c value, like how we were working it out in the last video. If you can't remember that, you could just click on the last video, check it out, and then you could just come back, right? Right, so once we get our c value now, right, so remember we have our m value and c value, we write out our answer. So I'm going to go through an example with you so you'd see how we go about the steps, right? Okay, so we have this question here, right? So we're given these 2 points. These 2 points A and B lie on some line, right? What we need to do is work out the equation of this line. That's what the question asks us to do, right? So first thing we're going to do is work out the gradient. Now, before we work out the gradient, let's just label these things here. You could use any one as your first point, right? I'm using this as my first point, this as my second point. So xy, xy. Since this is my first point, this will be x1, y1. Second point, x2, y2. Right? So I'm going to write on my gradient formula. M is equal to y2, take away y1. Now this is a formula you need to learn. You don't get it on the formula sheet. x2 take away x1. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually fill out the numbers here. So I'm going to substitute it, right? So instead of y2, I'm going to write 1 take away y1 is 3, x2 is 4, take away x1 is 2. Right, so simple substitution there. So I'm going to simplify the top. 1 take away 3 is negative 2. 4 take away 2 is positive 2. Alright, 2 divided by 2 would give us 1, but a negative divided by a positive would give us a negative. So we get negative 1. If you're not sure about that, feel free to use a calculator. Alright, so I always say if you're not sure, you make a guess. Well, not a guess, but you say what you think the answer is, and then you check your calculator to verify it until what you say in you're comfortable enough that what you're saying is correct. Right, so our m value is negative 1. So now that we got that, we are going to use this m value and we're going to use any one of our points to work out our c value. Like I said before, we could either use this point or this point. It doesn't matter, right? So so our m value is negative 1, and I'm going to use the point. Okay, so I'm going to use this point, right? It doesn't matter which one you use, the working, once it's correct, you're going to get the correct answer. Right, so remember this has an x and a y. This is just like what we did last class, right? This part. All right, so we're going to write out y is equal to mx plus c. We're going to stick in our m value, which is minus 1, x and y. Y is 1, x is 4. Right, we're going to work out the value of c. So we're going to get 1 is equal to negative 1 by 4. So 1 is equal to, when we multiply here, we're going to get negative 4 plus c. Transpose, because this is our takeout, we put it to get plus. 4 and 1 is 5 is equal to c. Right, so we have our c value, we have our m value. So we're going to write on our answer now. So we're going to write y, so this is our answer. Y is equal to m is negative 1, x plus c. So c is positive 5, right? So plus c. And that's our answer. Alright, so we're gonna move on now to our next question. If you want, you could feel free to just play it over and look at the steps again, right? So I'm going to do this second question. So we have to find the equation of this line. On this line we have 2 points sitting, P and Q. P is 3, 3, Q is -1, -4. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is work out our gradients. I'm going to write down the formula. Y2 take away y1 over x2 take away x1. Right? Remember, we have to label our points, right? So this is my first point, so this is x and y, so this is x1, y1. Second point, x2, y2. Right? So we know exactly what we substitute in. This is a -4 in the corner here. I don't know how good that's showing up. Alright, so let's start some substitution. X2 is -4. Take away y1. Y1 is +3. X2 is -1. Take away x1 is +3. Alright, so far so good. I'm going to simplify out the top. So we have -4 take away 3, which is -7. -1 take away 3 is -4. Right. So a negative I have a negatives come out, right? Because you have a fraction answer, but you have a positive fraction answer, right? So just going to simplify that. So it's positive 7/4. Okay, so now we're going to use this m value, right? And we're going to use any one of our points. It doesn't matter which one. So I'm just going to pick P to use it, right? So my point is P, 3, 3, right? And I'm going to use that. So y is equal to mx plus c, right? So we're going to stick in 3 here because y is 3. M is the fraction. Don't be afraid of fractions. Fractions are just weird looking numbers. X is also 3 plus, oh sorry, I must put in plus c, y. Okay, so we're good there. So we're going to actually do the substitution now. We're going to put 3 is equal to 7/4 by 3 plus c. You may want to use your calculator for this part, right? It's up to you. So 7 3s are 21. So you're supposed to get like 21/4. Right? You can use your calculator to verify that. Then you're going to transpose. Okay, so let me see if I could just get that. 4 3s are 12. So that will give me 12. Okay, so when you work this out here, you could check it on your calculator if you want. You could go the long way and find the LCM and stuff like that. You're going to get 9/4, right? So I mean, it's the same process, right? We just get some fraction answers, so nothing to be scared or worried about. So we're going to write down our answer now. Answer would be y is equal to m. M is fraction 7/4 x plus c, and our c value is 9/4. Right? And that's our answer. So just to kind of recap the steps, the first thing you're going to do when you're given a question like this would be to use your 2 points and get your gradient. After doing that, you're going to use your gradient and any one of your points, and you're going to work out your c value. Once you have your m and c value, you put it in your general form and you're going to just write out your answer.